Recently, many Chinese netizens shared screenshots showing that on China's major map apps, Baidu Maps and Amap, searching for Zhongnanhai often returns location not found, or redirects the search to Tongzhou, a suburban district of Beijing about 21 kilometers away from the government compound known as Zhongnanhai. Chinese netizens quickly mocked the Xi Jinping authorities for this foolish move. On X, a user named Jennifer Zheng posted in shock, saying, "After checking it myself, I found it's true. After the US captured Maduro, Zhongnanhai disappeared from the map." She also said, "What I find funny is this. If one day the US military really rushed into Beijing to capture Xi Jinping, do you think they would use Baidu or Google Maps for navigation? I know an engineer who once made ship components for the US Navy. He had clearance to view top-secret military materials. He told me that more than 30 years ago, US military satellites were already extremely advanced. Back then, you could see people on Soviet warships as clearly as if they were just 5 meters away." At the start of 2026, Trump ordered a U.S. military raid of Venezuela's capital. President Nicolas Maduro and his wife were captured alive, shocking authoritarian regimes around the world. Terrified, Chinese Communist Party leader Xi Jinping quietly erased Zhongnanhai from the map. It cannot be found through navigation searches, and satellite labels were hidden. This self-deceptive style of defense quickly exposed how the CCP's power core collapses in the face of U.S. military strength. At the same time, another curious incident went viral online. After the Maduros were captured, many Chinese netizens began widely sharing the song "Sadly, It Wasn't You" by Malaysian singer Fish Leong. Because of its obvious satirical meaning, the song was quickly banned, and Fish Leong shut down her Weibo account on January 8th. Zhongnanhai evaporating from the map became one of the most surreal jokes at the start of 2026, and also reflects the fear and anxiety in Xi Jinping's mind. The shockwave from Maduro's capture triggered a chain reaction inside mainland China. Beyond Zhongnanhai disappearing from maps, airspace controls over Beijing were tightened. Drones were fully restricted, with reports that some were locked immediately after takeoff. From an international perspective, this level of security is uncommon. It usually appears only before war or serious systemic risks. The CCP's creation of an atmosphere of extreme national fear shows that the pressure felt by the Xi regime is unprecedented. Recently, a Chinese blogger posted a video saying he was stopped by police on a Beijing street and asked to show his ID. After entering his ID number, the police system immediately showed that he owned a drone. Officers then warned him that drones must be carried powered off and are not allowed to fly anywhere in Beijing. So, why did the Maduro incident make Xi Jinping so afraid? The fundamental reason is that it demonstrated the United States' willingness, under Trump's leadership, to carry out decapitation strikes against hostile regimes. Images of President Maduro and his wife being captured alive must have played in Xi Jinping's mind. Decapitation was no longer an abstract idea, but a real and direct threat to dictators. From Saddam Hussein being dragged out of a hole and later executed, to Gaddafi dying in chaos, to Iranian Revolutionary Guard commander Qasem Soleimani being killed in a drone strike, what Xi Jinping likely fears most is President Trump's willingness to act decisively. Recently, a tweet spread that reportedly kept Zhongnanhai leaders awake at night. Veteran U.S. national security journalist Bill Gertz posted a highly intimidating message on X. If the Chinese Communist Party launches a military strike on Taiwan, a Soleimani-style drone strike could be carried out in Beijing. This would include every member of the Politburo Standing Committee, including Xi Jinping himself. This, he wrote, is a force capable of stopping the People's Liberation Army, and the CCP could end up like the former Soviet Union, swept into the dustbin of history. So, who is Bill Gertz? He is widely seen as a mouthpiece for the Pentagon. As a senior columnist at the Washington Times, Gertz has long written the Inside the Ring column, which often directly reflects Pentagon concerns and signals. His tweets and articles frequently carry messages that U.S. officials prefer not to state officially, but still want adversaries to clearly understand. Those messages are often released through his pen or his social media posts. Former U.S. Department of Defense official and retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Tony Hu explained this even more bluntly on the Taiwanese political talk show, Forward with the Times. Hu has dealt with Gertz for years within Pentagon circles and said that Gertz is known for being professional and trustworthy. When the U.S. government finds it inconvenient to speak openly, it sometimes passes sensitive information to journalists like Gert to release at a specific moment. Hu plainly stated that this time, naming Xi Jinping directly very likely means someone wanted him to say it. He emphasized that the U.S. treats decapitation strikes with extreme caution, but once carried out, their success rate is very high. The key is what comes after. There must be agents who can step forward to surrender or negotiate. In China's case, if Xi were removed, the U.S. could then communicate with figures such as Central Military Commission Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia or the new commander of the Eastern Theater Command, General Yang. These people would need to face reality. The PLA cannot defeat the U.S. military. Hu further pointed out that the U.S. military completed the Soleimani operation in Iran within 90 minutes and withdrew safely. The Venezuela operation also faced no real resistance. The capability is beyond question. Killing a target is even easier than capturing one alive, and in the Chinese context, the difficulty would be far lower than people imagine. Japanese House of Councilors member Seki Hei from the Japan Innovation Party said that he openly refers to Putin, Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un as the three dictator brothers. He noted that these leaders once believed themselves untouchable, thinking no one could do any harm to them. But the U.S. military's recent lightning operation in Venezuela completely shattered that illusion. Seki Hei stated, Xi Jinping is very afraid. Being captured alive is not entirely impossible. If China were to attack Taiwan, from the U.S. perspective, it might be better than fighting the PLA head-on in the Taiwan Strait, but rather sending Delta Force to invite Xi Jinping to New York or Washington for a cup of tea. This kind of low-cost, high-efficiency surgical strike is far less difficult than a full-scale war, yet it can directly break a regime's will to resist. Just a year earlier, in July 2025, an audio recording was leaked from a private fundraising event. In it, Trump revealed that he had bluntly warned Xi Jinping, threatening that if Xi were to make a move on Taiwan, Trump would bomb Beijing into ruins. This remark exploded like a time bomb, instantly igniting a storm of public opinion on both sides of the Taiwan Strait. Xi Jinping was reportedly stunned and asked, "Beijing? You're going to bomb Beijing?" Trump replied that he had no choice, otherwise there would be serious trouble. Trump's warning pushed this fear to its peak. The threat of bombing Beijing from the outside, combined with the danger of an internal coup, left Xi Jinping unable to sleep or eat in peace. An article by the independent social media account Cui Zijian quickly went viral. Its headline pointed directly to Maduro's capture as the inevitable result of long-term CIA infiltration and coordination with domestic agents. The article said that the traitors around Maduro may have included close aides or security personnel who sold out key intelligence at a critical moment, allowing the U.S. military to strike with precision. Beyond guarding against foreign attacks, Xi fears internal turmoil even more. The article analyzed in detail how agents may have penetrated different groups inside China, including government officials, senior military officers, university professors, and business elites. It stressed that these insiders working together with foreign agents represent a fatal weakness in national security. The article again noted that the traitors around Maduro may have been people he trusted the most, including members of his security team. Such a scenario is not unimaginable. Recently, rumors about a military ambush leading to a tunnel explosion spread wildly on overseas social media platforms. On December 17, 2025, a sudden explosion shocked the highway network on the outskirts of Beijing. A violent rear-end collision occurred inside the Duyuan Tunnel on the Capital Ring Expressway G95, located in Baoding, Hebei Province. A natural gas tanker caught fire and exploded, causing part of the tunnel to collapse. Flames shot into the air, and thick smoke billowed across the scene. Videos filmed by witnesses showed the tunnel entrance engulfed in flames, with dozens of vehicles trapped inside. The scene was horrifying. Videos and photos showed the tanker colliding with other vehicles and instantly turning the area into a sea of fire. Debris was scattered everywhere, and the air was filled with a strong, burnt stench. Other on-site videos clearly showed the severity of the disaster. A person in uniform was seen pacing by the roadside, with thick smoke blotting out the sky behind him. Several netizens, claiming insider knowledge, said there were dozens of vehicles inside the tunnel at that time, and almost no one managed to escape. After the accident, traffic in both directions was jammed for more than 22 hours, with some drivers stranded for over 14 hours. Online reports claimed that the incident left 29 people injured and 10 dead. Under normal circumstances, such a serious accident would prompt local police to immediately release casualty figures and launch an investigation. However, nearly 3 weeks have passed since the explosion, and major state media outlets like Xinhua and CCTV have not mentioned it at all. This collective silence from official media quickly sparked an uproar online. Rumors spread rapidly, and the most sensational interpretation framed the incident as a politically motivated assassination attempt targeting Xi Jinping. Rumors say this explosion was not a simple traffic accident, but a military ambush aimed at a special security task force protecting Xi Jinping as it traveled from Baoding to Beijing. The casualty list is said to include members of the elite security units and even special individuals. After hearing the news, Xi Jinping and his wife were reportedly terrified and immediately activated the highest-level security plan, retreating to an underground air defense villa in the western hills of Zhongnanhai, where they hid for 2 days. This explosion was not seen as an isolated incident. It was quickly placed into the broader context of power struggles at the top of the CCP. Since taking office in 2012, Xi Jinping has ruled through high-pressure authoritarian control, deeply fearing democratic forces and strictly censoring speech. At the same time, he has used the anti-corruption campaign to consolidate power and purge officials deemed politically disloyal. The large-scale purge of senior military figures, such as the downfall of former defense ministers Li Shangfu and Wei Fenghe, and the investigations into multiple rocket force generals, shows how intense factional struggles have become. After 13 years in power, Xi Jinping has eliminated countless political rivals, but in doing so, he has also made countless enemies. Those who are purged, along with their families and close associates, harbor deep resentment. If an opportunity arises, they could become internal threats. From tight speech controls to repeated military purges, everything stems from fear of coups, mutinies, or even assassination attempts. After Maduro was captured, Xi Jinping's fear reportedly escalated further. On January 4th, Shanghai-based entrepreneur Hu Liren posted on X, "Maduro's capture pushed Xi into a state of extreme fear." Hu wrote, "Today, there's news circulating in Beijing that Xi Jinping has begun further strengthening his personal security team. Military bases around Beijing are showing frequent troop movements today, and it's likely that many underground bunker systems around Beijing have also been activated." Hu Liren mocked this fear of death coming from the illegitimacy of Xi's power base. "A regime built through repression," he said, "is always at risk of being devoured from within." Hu also revealed that when Xi visited Shanghai in 2018, the entire area within a 5-kilometer radius was completely cleared out. 20,000 police and soldiers were deployed. Even Shanghai's own security personnel were barred from entering the inner protection zone 1 kilometer out. Such extreme measures, he said, are not exceptions, but part of Xi Jinping's consistent governing style. In 2023, when Xi attended the BRICS summit in South Africa, his team reportedly shipped a full set of furniture from China a month in advance, including mattresses, carpets, curtains, and even tableware, completely replacing the hotel's furnishings. This was not just about hygiene, but an extreme anti-assassination precaution. South African police confirmed that Xi arrived with a 500-person delegation, booked 2 hotels, and replaced everything from cups and bowls to bedsheets, leaving nothing local behind, as if rebuilding an entirely new presidential suite. Media interpreted this as extreme protection against poisoning, surveillance, or assassination. Today, the CCP faces internal and external crises on an unprecedented scale. On September 3, 2025, during a massive military parade, residents along Beijing's Chang'an Avenue and its extended routes were ordered to close their curtains, keep windows shut, and stay off balconies. Kitchen knives and lighters had to be handed in, and gas use was banned. Nearby office buildings were emptied, and thousands of factories were shut down. Every residential building had armed police or soldiers stationed at each unit entrance. Residents' movements were restricted, and they were not allowed to act freely. Large numbers of petitioners were intercepted and sent back in advance. Dissidents and religious believers were placed under tight surveillance, with officials visiting their homes to threaten and harass them. This level of security, on the surface, seemingly justified as parade protection, in reality exposed deep fear and instability. Such extreme measures clearly shows a lack of confidence in the regime itself. Now, the CCP's so-called little brothers are starting to wobble like falling dominoes. After the US military successfully captured Maduro, the event landed like a heavy hammer on authoritarian regimes around the world. Meanwhile, anti-government protests in Iran have entered a boiling point. More and more people are taking to the streets, protesters are chanting anti-regime slogans, and Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, appears increasingly at risk. Videos circulating on social media show Iranian protesters speaking directly to the camera in English, shouting, "President Trump, please save us the way you saved Venezuela." On January 9th, U.S. President Donald Trump again publicly stated that if the Iranian government kills protesters, the United States will launch very severe strikes against Iran's rulers. The Iranian protests quickly spread to China and have sparked strong resonance among mainland netizens. By using circumvention tools to watch the videos, many Chinese people praise the Iranian protesters, saying things like, "They're so brave," and "Learn from the Iranians, stand up." This reflects deep frustration among ordinary Chinese people over high-pressure social control and economic decline. The hopes of China's people may well be the spark for real change. Recently, a man released a video openly challenging the Chinese Communist Party. He called on everyone to bravely say no to CCP tyranny. In the video, he declared, "They want you to be afraid, so afraid that you stay silent, so afraid that you forget. But today, this challenge letter is meant to tell you clearly, we are no longer afraid. We will no longer accept any form of power or oppression. Your tricks turn into paper tigers once exposed to public scrutiny. The net of justice has already been cast. We are waiting for the first response, waiting for the right moment. Remember this, justice will never be absent from this fight. Fear is their last weapon." According to media reports, this is the first publicly issued single combat challenge against the CCP so far this year. His words struck a deep chord with many mainlanders, who flooded the comments with support. "National awakening, we support you. A retired soldier stands with you. Respect to everyone pushing society forward." The awakening and sense of righteousness among mainlanders also stirred strong emotions among users on X. One comment summed it up. "They finally pushed ordinary people to the point where they're no longer afraid of death. How much longer can the CCP's tyranny really last?"